There are teams already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets. There are some teams, the league is afraid that there are some teams' games where you could get into the playoff game for $6. That is how low some of these ratings might be and how low some of these ticket prices might be. Let's get into it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification. Let's go. WNBA is in a frenzy right now.
Indiana Fever playoff tickets are sitting at $9.68. $9. That's cheaper than a Chipotle burrito with extra guac. And this isn't just some obscure nosebleed seat. This is playoff basketball in the WNBA, and you can get in for less than a lunch at McDonald's.
Fast. The WNBA is in a panic right now. The WNBA higher-ups are panicking. They don't know what's going to happen. I already let y'all know. I showed y'all the numbers that they was concerned about the playoff ratings and what they will be for the networks. They're concerned about it already. No Caitlin Clark here to carry everybody. They don't know how these numbers are going to look. Tickets are they're already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets. There are teams already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets.
But here's the kicker. Caitlin Clark is nowhere to be found on that court. She's sitting on the sidelines in street clothes, and just like that, the entire basketball universe has been flipped on its head.
It's $9. This is the cheapest it's been to get into an Indiana Fever game all year. This is actually the cheapest it's been. Look, I still think it's going to be nearly a sellout because I'm sorry, if I lived anywhere near Indiana, if it was 10 quid, I'd go to the game. I'd go to the game. I'd absolutely go to the game. I don't care. I'll pay $10. It's cheaper to be in the arena watching the game than it is to sit at home. Probably more expensive than it would cost to go to pay for one game on Fever Direct, I'd say, if that's a thing.
The Indiana Fever, a team that was selling tickets for hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars when their superstar point guard was healthy, is now practically giving away playoff seats like Halloween candy nobody wants.
It's understandable in this era to figure that tickets for playoff games are more expensive than the regular season, but Fever tickets for Tuesday night remain very affordable. $12, $13. I don't know what they're going to lie about as far as attendance goes. We're going to get into that momentarily. There are tons of tickets, hundreds of tickets available, if not thousands of tickets still available for tonight's game at a cheap price of a hoagie sandwich and a bag of chips from Wawa. You know, during Hoagie Fest nonetheless. A hoagie and a bag of chips from Wawa, you can get into Gainesbridge Arena.
We're talking about a franchise that, with Clark in the lineup, was charging fans anywhere from $670 to over $4,000 just to breathe the same air as their generational talent. Now, you could buy a ticket with pocket change and still have enough left over for parking.
WNBA is in a frenzy right now. The cash cow is not available to play. The Golden Goose is not available right now. That is Caitlin Clark. So now everyone has to get their numbers on their own. We saw Caitlin Clark bring in a whopping 1.8 million viewers for her first playoff game versus the Connecticut Sun last season. That was more than all of the other playoff games that was played that day combined. More than all of the other playoff games played that day combined. WNBA's in panic mode.
If you are enjoying, please subscribe. Let's get real about what we're looking at here. When Caitlin Clark was playing, Indiana Fever tickets were the hottest commodity in sports. Not just basketball, all sports. The woman was single-handedly responsible for 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity, generating close to $1 billion in economic impact. $1 billion with a B. That's more GDP than some small countries, folks.
Last year, the cheapest ticket available to see the Indiana Fever at the Connecticut Sun in the first round of the 2024 WNBA playoffs, $133. Let's just say it's not near that expensive this year. It's not. So right there, Indiana Fever just had Caitlin Clark cut a WWE promo. I'm waiting for CM Punk to run out of the tunnel. There's Mr. Punk right there.
But now, Now we're seeing ticket prices that make a dollar menu look expensive. The cheapest playoff tickets are sitting at $9, and you can get courtside seats for $200. Courtside. That's what you'd pay for decent seats at a high school basketball game. The contrast is so stark, it's almost comical, if it wasn't so telling about what this league truly depends on. When Clark was healthy and terrorizing defenses with her logo three-pointers and no-look passes, Fever games were averaging over 17,000 fans at home, more than the city's NBA team. Road games were being moved to larger venues just to accommodate the demand. The Washington Mystics moved from their 4,200-seat arena to a 14,000-seat venue. The Chicago Sky upgraded from their usual 10,400-seat arena to the United Center, which holds over 20,000 people. That's the Caitlin Clark effect in full swing.
You can get courtside seats for $200. It is $200 to go sit courtside. Second row courtside behind the basket is $200. 1 to 3 tickets. It is $200 to sit courtside this game. This is, in fact, the cheapest. It is cheaper to go to this Fever game. This is the cheapest it's been to get into the Fever all year. Why? Why is it the cheapest? Because, well, you see, these tickets went on sale after the Indiana Fever announced Caitlin Clark was going to be injured for the season.
But here's where it gets absolutely bananas. Clark announced on September 4th that she wouldn't return for the rest of the season, including the playoffs, due to a groin injury she'd been battling. And just like someone flipped a light switch, the entire atmosphere around Indiana Fever basketball changed. The team that was setting franchise records for wins and road victories suddenly became an afterthought. The playoff game on September 16th, the Fever's first home playoff game since 2016, should have been a celebration. Instead, it became a case study in just how much one player can single-handedly carry not just a team, but an entire league's relevance. Fans who were previously willing to mortgage their houses to see Clark play are now scrolling past $9 tickets like they're expired coupons.
The last time the Indiana Fever posted a video of Caitlin Clark talking was almost a month ago. But they know who they need to post when it's time to sell tickets. Damn! Putting CC front and center only when it's time to sell tickets. Oh boy. Oh boy. And we're talking about the tickets, folks. Don't hate the player, hit the game. I'm just a lonely messenger. That's it. Look at these ticket prices. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Look at these ticket prices. $13, $12, $55 for section 100, $27, $147 for section 5, $55 for section 19, $330 for courtside seats. Oh, snap.
This isn't just about the Indiana Fever, though. This is about the WNBA staring directly into the mirror and seeing exactly what they're made of without their biggest draw. Clark's absence doesn't just affect ticket sales, it's a seismic shift that ripples through television ratings, merchandise sales, and general interest in the league. Throughout the 2025 season, every time Clark missed games due to injury, the impact was immediate and brutal. When she sat out 5 games earlier in the season, WNBA viewership dropped by 55%. Games that would normally draw over 1 million viewers were suddenly struggling to crack 350,000. The All-Star Game, where Clark was supposed to be a team captain, saw a 36% drop in viewership when she couldn't participate due to injury. It's like watching a concert where the headliner doesn't show up, and suddenly everyone realizes they didn't really care about the opening acts. Harsh? Maybe. True? The empty seats and rock-bottom ticket prices don't lie.
But I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion, but not like this. This news is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA.
Here's where it gets really interesting and really sad for Indiana. The Fever built their entire identity around being Caitlin Clark's team. They drafted her first overall, structured their offense around her unique skill set, and watched as their franchise transformed from WNBA afterthought to must-see television. Clark didn't just elevate their on-court performance, she elevated their entire brand. Without her, the Fever are trying to convince fans that Kelsey Mitchell's 20.2 points per game and Aaliyah Boston's solid inside presence are worth playoff prices. And to be fair, these are talented players who deserve recognition, but the market has spoken and it's speaking in $9 tickets. The same fans who were camping outside arenas just to catch a glimpse of Clark warming up are now treating playoff basketball like a Tuesday night at Chuck E. Cheese. The franchise set records this season: 24 wins, 10 road victories, their first back-to-back playoff appearances since 2015 to 2016. By any measure, this should be a celebration. Instead, it feels like a wake for what could have been.
This is wild. They're already doing deals. Like they're trying to give you a free tire change. They're trying to give you a free car wash and all types of stuff to get out to these games. This is wild. Look at how empty this arena is. Look at how empty it is. The cheapest ticket, $6. Yeah, I could spot a nickel on the floor right there, row 2, section D1.
But let's zoom out for a second, because this situation reveals something uncomfortable about the WNBA that nobody wants to say out loud. They need Caitlin Clark more than they've ever needed any single player. This isn't LeBron James leaving Cleveland. This is finding out that your entire business model depends on one 23-year-old point guard who can't stay healthy. The league experienced unprecedented growth in 2024, largely because Clark brought eyeballs, butts in seats, and mainstream attention that the WNBA had never experienced. Attendance jumped 48% from 2023. There were 154 sellouts. The average attendance per game shot up from 6,615 to 9,807. Television ratings shattered records across multiple networks. But now we're seeing the flip side of that coin. When your league's success is built around one player, what happens when that player can't play? The answer is sitting right there in those $9 playoff tickets.
But Caitlin Clark was first. You know what would have also put asses in seats? Indiana Fever clearing Caitlin Clark to play the game of basketball. That would have done it. I promise you. I promise you that would have done it. Again, I believe we deserve to know who ordered the code red. It's a lot different if it is Caitlin Clark and her people believe that, and her medical team believe that she could not play. If it was Stephanie White in the Indiana Fever, I believe that changes everything, as far as I'm concerned.
The timing of Clark's injury couldn't be crueler for the WNBA. The league is in the middle of a massive expansion phase, with new teams joining and an 11-year, $2.2 billion media rights deal starting in 2026. Player salaries are being renegotiated. Corporate sponsorships are flying in. Everything was aligning for the WNBA to take that next step as a major professional sports league. And then, their biggest star, the player generating nearly 27% of the league's entire economic activity, goes down with an injury right before the most important games of the season. It's like a restaurant finally getting its first Michelin star review, only to have the head chef call in sick that very night. All the infrastructure, all the preparation, all the hype, and the one thing that makes it special isn't there when it matters most.
In this back and forth from all the WNBA players that the league is not just Caitlin Clark. Stop acting like the league is not just Caitlin Clark. There are other people who are doing things. Caitlin Clark has been injured, so she hasn't been playing. Since Caitlin Clark went down, the WNBA ratings have dropped over 55%.
Yikes.
Across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA.
Perhaps the most telling part of this entire situation is how quickly fans abandon ship. These aren't casual observers. These are people who were willing to pay premium prices to watch Clark play. They traveled from Iowa to Indiana. They bought merchandise. They watched every game religiously. They were the foundation of the WNBA's recent success story. But when push came to shove, when Clark was ruled out for the playoffs, they voted with their wallets. And their vote was a resounding no thanks to $200 courtside seats and a definitive, maybe if it's really cheap, to $9 general admission. This isn't necessarily a knock on the other players or the quality of basketball being played. It's just the brutal reality of professional sports. Fans connect with individual players, not abstract concepts of competitive basketball. They want to see greatness, and for the past 2 years, Caitlin Clark has been the embodiment of that greatness in women's basketball.
So, like a lot of people, I started following the WNBA, and I'm sorry, I hate to sound cliche, but it is because of Caitlin Clark. I flew my family to Indy to catch the game opener, and it was just such an amazing thing to see. We fell in love with the city. We, of course, also fell in love with the Pacers, and we followed every game since.
The Indiana Fever and the WNBA are learning a painful lesson about putting all your eggs in one basket. Clark's injury has revealed just how dependent both the franchise and the league have become on her star power. It's a sobering reminder that building a sustainable business around one player, no matter how talented, is inherently risky. For the Fever specifically, this is a wake-up call about player management and injury prevention. Clark missed significant time in 2025 with multiple soft tissue injuries, and each absence was felt immediately in ticket sales, viewership, and general interest. If she's going to be the face of their franchise, they need to do everything possible to keep her healthy. For the WNBA as a whole, this situation highlights the need to develop multiple stars and storylines that can carry the league when individual players are unavailable. The fact that viewership and attendance crater this dramatically when one player is out suggests that the league's recent growth, while impressive, may not be as stable as it appeared. At the end of the day, those $9 playoff tickets tell a story that no amount of spin can change. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark, and the Indiana Fever desperately needs Caitlin Clark. Without her, playoff basketball in Indiana becomes a bargain bin afterthought that fans can afford to skip. Is it fair to the other talented players on the Fever roster? Probably not. Is it a realistic reflection of how professional sports fandom works? Absolutely. Fans don't just root for jerseys, they root for players who capture their imagination and make them believe they're witnessing something special.
Is a superstar from top to bottom. You never seen a woman shoot the ball like that or pass the ball like that. It has that fire. You downplay it, you diminish it, you try to kill it. You almost killed it, but thank God Caitlin Clark is a strong human being. But the fact that they're trying to replace her with someone subpar talent, subpar in entertainment value is ridiculous, and try to give credit to those who don't really deserve credit and try to have players to be the face who aren't really the face. The one thing about the face of the league, it's not chosen by the league, it's chosen by the fans.
For 2 years, Caitlin Clark has been that special something for women's basketball. Her absence from these playoffs, reflected in those historically low ticket prices, is a reminder of just how rare and valuable that kind of star power really is. The WNBA found its golden goose, and now they're learning what happens when the goose can't fly. Those $9 tickets aren't just cheap seats, they're a sobering reminder that in professional sports, sometimes one player really can make all the difference between must-see television and background noise. And right now, without Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever playoffs have become the most affordable disappointment in professional sports. The question isn't whether this is wild or crazy, it absolutely is both. The question is what the WNBA and the Indiana Fever do with this harsh lesson about the difference between sustainable growth and unsustainable dependency. Because those empty seats at Gainbridge Fieldhouse are telling a story, and it's not the story anyone wanted to write.